The nausea from when you take Ozempic is no joke, and in this video I'm going to be covering 10 ways that you can prevent and treat Ozempic nausea. I've been on this medication for 4.5 months now, and it's really helped me. It's been a game changer for me in my weight loss and being able to control my hunger levels, and I think that this is a wonderful medication, but it is not without a little bit of grief that you have to get used to it being in your system. This was the most difficult drug that I've ever taken in terms of side effects, and now that I've been on it for a while, I feel like I've been able to kind of mitigate some of the side effects and also just kind of regulate this within my system. But when I first started on those lower doses, I remember how hard it was. So I'm trying to kind of look back on that experience and tell you what helped me. So obviously we can't control how our body reacts to a certain type of medication, but I think it's important to remember that if you are starting on this, you need to be starting slow, and that means taking the 0.25 milligram dose first and then moving up to the 0.5 milligram dose gradually, and then most people move from 0.5 to 1 milligram. So going slow is really the key. That first couple of weeks is when I felt the most nausea, and I was having to treat my symptoms with over-the-counter medications, and that really did help me get over the hump. I'm finding now that most of the time my nausea comes when I eat poorly, so when I eat really greasy foods or just foods that just don't sit right with me. And so the top 3 things that I'm going to tell you first are more about prevention rather than treatment. So the first thing is to watch out for greasy foods or foods that have a high fat or oil content. And this can be kind of confusing because some foods are kind of healthy, like avocados are obviously a healthy food, but that is one of the foods that has made me sick. Actually, in the last 2 weeks, I had put a little bit too much avocado on a salad that I was eating, and I just felt sick afterwards. And so, just kind of being mindful about what you're eating and the portion sizes really matters. But as far as prevention goes, I stay away from really greasy food, overly greasy food like food from restaurants. I really try to order something fresh. If they've got something grilled on the menu, I'll go for that option instead of like a fried sandwich or a burger or something like that. The second tip for prevention would be to eat small meals at regular intervals. And when you first start taking Ozempic, you may be so nauseous that you're tempted not to eat at all. And I think this is a big mistake that people make, because when you don't eat, it makes the nausea even worse sometimes. And that was the case for me. I was waiting like 6 or 7 hours in between meals to eat, and I was just waiting entirely too long. And so what I found that really helped me was to kind of just plan out some little 300 calorie meals. May not be the biggest meal ever, maybe just a little snack wrap or something like that, or a little frozen dinner, like if you can have like a lean cuisine. And you don't have to eat all of it, but I do think that eating with some level of regularity really helps, especially when you first start taking this medicine, because you're going to be tempted to not eat if you're not hungry, because it's such a new feeling for all of us to feel like we're not hungry. And so I feel like there may be a tendency for people to lean into that. So just be mindful and try to eat at regular intervals whenever possible. My third prevention tip would be to change your injection site. If you are having pain when you inject in your stomach, change your injection site to either your arm or your thigh. I know a lot of people on the Facebook group said that this really helped them. Some people have a sensitivity when they inject medicine into their stomachs. This could be really helpful if you haven't tried this yet, so I would just kind of give it a shot. Now, the next 7 things are treatment strategies, and most of these are really cheap and they're over the counter. The first one is Dramamine. I think everyone pretty well knows what this is. I think commonly people think it is for motion sickness, but it definitely helps with nausea. It says it relieves nausea, dizziness, and vomiting. So I mean, this could really be a game changer for you. They do have a less drowsy version, which you might want to try, especially if you're trying to take it during the daytime. This is a medicine that I would probably only take before bed, but in my past videos I've shared with you guys that I think it's a good idea to take your injection at night if possible. That way your nausea will be passed throughout the night. And so if you take this right after you take your injection and you take it at night, you'll probably just sleep through those symptoms. All right, next up is something that I think we also all probably have in our medicine cabinet. These are Tums. Nothing fancy here, but these really did help me, especially as I was learning how much I could eat, because I feel like when you take Ozempic, you learn the hard way what food that you can't eat. And so, if you maybe slip up and you eat a little bit too much, or you eat a type of food that your stomach becomes sensitive to, I really think that these are helpful for that. We're just going down the line of over-the-counter drugs here, but this is Pepto. Obviously, not really a big secret, but this is for nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. So we really got all of the things in the Pepto. You can see I got like the giant Pepto that's like the size of my head because we are some Pepto people in this house, but I really feel like this is a good one to keep as well, especially when you're feeling like you're having more than one symptom. It can be really effective to keep this around. The next treatment option is obviously something that is only going to cost you a couple of dollars, but that is just some pickle juice. And bonus, you get to eat the pickles as well. Pickle juice is, something that I think a lot of people use for a hangover cure, and it definitely works. I know growing up, we used to get pickle sickles when we went to the ball field. Whenever we'd play softball, they'd sell you like a little frozen pickle sickle, but I'm not, like the biggest fan on the taste. I know some people like to take shots and then do like picklebacks after the shot, but I'm not about that life. But this has actually helped me. In a moment of desperation, I literally just came in the kitchen and just took the lid off and just drank some of this. So, your mileage may vary, but I think pickle juice is a great thing because it's going to help you if you're dehydrated. It's got a lot of salt, obviously, and it's kind of like an electrolyte type of thing. So pickle juice is one thing that you may not think about, but it can definitely help with your nausea. All right, the next thing is alcohol on a cotton ball. So all you need to do is pour some of this onto a cotton ball and then kind of smell it, and your nausea actually might go away completely. This helped me one time in the middle of the night. I had woken up with pretty bad nausea. I will wake up periodically with nausea from Ozempic, and so this really did help me, just kind of like sitting there breathing it in. I'm not really sure about like the scientific reason why it works, but I mean, this is something that you can get for as cheap as $1 or $2, and I feel like a lot of people don't know about it, so this is something that I would definitely recommend that you try. So the next item is more of like, I guess, a supplement. This is Liquid IV. This is like a hydration pack, and you don't have to just use Liquid IV. I mean, there's Gatorade, there's a lot of different like electrolyte mixes, but what it is it helps you kind of balance out your electrolytes. That can be one of the reasons that you're not feeling well, especially if you're having trouble keeping the food down and you're having trouble getting enough calories. I think this is a good way to kind of combat some of that nausea from just being dehydrated. And make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. The only downside about these is that they are really expensive for what they are. I mean, they're just little packs, and I think this box retails for like $10 or $12. I was actually able to find this at one of those Amazon overstock stores for $3, and I wound up getting like 10 boxes of them. So I feel like I have like a pretty good supply. But as far as how it makes me feel, I do feel like it helps in terms of keeping me hydrated. I usually drink like one of these per day, and I really feel like, just in general, they're a good thing to keep on hand. All right, guys, the last home remedy that I've personally tried is peppermint tea. It doesn't really matter what kind of brand it is, but I like to go for the herbal teas without the caffeine because sometimes you want to drink these at night. Peppermint tea, the way that it smells and just kind of the way overall that it opens up your senses, I feel like it can help with nausea. And then also, if you're not a fan of drinking tea, you can get like peppermint oil and kind of dab it on your wrists and then kind of rub it, and then you kind of breathe it in and maybe put it around your bed, around your pillow at night, and I feel like that can help with the nausea as well. So I've given you a few ways to prevent the nausea, and I've given you more ways to treat the nausea, and I just want to say that all of these have personally been successful for me, some of them to varying degrees, but overall I would not steer you guys in a direction of a place where I wouldn't personally go myself. Obviously, I've kept all of this stuff on hand because it has been helpful for me. I do want to say that obviously you should talk with a doctor about these types of things if you're concerned. I know some people like to get a prescription for Zofran or Phenergan or whatever you want to do for your nausea. That's completely up to you. Personally, I like the over-the-counter stuff because I can just go to CVS or somewhere like Walmart and pick up what I need. I don't have to wait for my doctor to kind of write me a prescription and stuff like that. So over-the-counter stuff really is like the first line of defense. And I've also seen people have success with those chewable things. I think Pepto makes some different ginger chews. So there's a lot of options out there. If you're starting Ozempic and you're worried about the nausea, or you're currently like in the thick of dealing with it, my advice for you would be to try and ride it out, because I felt like so bad the first couple of weeks, but now I really don't think about it at all. And I remember being in that time and thinking like, is this worth it? Like, is this really all like gonna be worth it? And I really do think it is. I've seen a major change in my physique in the last couple of weeks. I'm almost at 5 months of being on Ozempic, and just overall seeing my waist slim down, seeing my face slim down has been extremely motivating for me. So dealing with the nausea, while it is inconvenient and frustrating, I do think that this medicine has the potential to change your life. If you want to see my 5-month update video, you can always subscribe to the channel. That will be coming out in about 2 weeks. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I appreciate all of you, and I will catch you guys soon.